I think, sorry for this setup. I thought there will be some time in between. I'm very, very delighted to be here, and I'm very impressed with the kind of thought that has come, because that defines where we are at this point in time, where we are going to go. What I've done is that I put some thought points, and I know that we are going to have a lot of discussions about this, if not today, but maybe a decade to come. Consequently, what I'm attempting to do is be on the answer side of the whole thing. Now, a second phase of telecom revolution, which has happened gradually in other countries, we're going to have a leapfrog because we didn't do it. And what you see on your screen is actually, when we talk about sunset and sunrise, there is a phenomena that goes on inside the sun, that it changes pole every 11 years. And what happens is that the sunspots increase. So as you see, it's a change of pole that is happening. And where we are going from voice-oriented, saturated market with lowest ARPUs and mad expansion to another phase of defining what we need to do. And some of the questions that Siddharth has raised were very, very pertinent. And what Mr. Mrityunjay talked about, I want to compliment all the people who are sitting here for bringing those issues here. Let us define the problem and our solution. So what are we talking about? You see, there is a picture of Shanghai, there is a picture of Times Square, and then I have this romantic picture of India in villages. I mean, the problems are different. The problems are livelihood, survival, basic health, education, decent lifestyle, connecting to the knowledge economy, social acceptance in the changing society, unity in diversity. So people who have internet and broadband, people who don't have internet and broadband will be the two societies that we will talk about. Security, and only 5% income can be spared for spent on communication. So it's a huge challenge that we are talking about. And we have forgotten some of these basics which we have learned from the world, and we have not mapped the problem, both in technically bringing all the things together, pricing them as a bundle, and giving it to the consumer so that he sees value in it. Also, it means that a lot of value-added services that you talked about have to go in every shape and form on every media so that the experiential value of the services is enhanced. So what are we going to do? Let me just talk about the convergence in the technology in future terms that we are going to see in 10 years coming forward. Is that M2M has been talked about, all the cameras, all the sensors that we have invented so far, all the devices which are there will all converge to have a beautiful synchronized dance in front of us, which have not been enabled as of now in terms of there have been distance of bandwidth, the paucity of bandwidth, reliability, flexibility, and ease of use. All of these have been major challenges to technologists, as well as the business people. So let's not talk about any longer distance in miles. Let's talk about 60 kilometers, 100 kilometers, because now you have the last stretch, where 60 kilometers without any in-between station you can go. But fiber is giving gigabit for many times now. And the possibility of generation of that bandwidth is not necessarily towards the internet. Internet is just another application over the broadband. So if you have a server somewhere in the district, you can service entire community in that district by single server. Higher bandwidth and reliability and flexibility will increase as we go about. That's what I'm talking, that means in technology terms. But real convergence means converging India with Bharat. And see, what is it? I mean, we did not service this segment. We could not. There were limitations of technology. People invented themselves and tried to use it. So what we are going to do is that utilize the brick and mortar, which is going around you, bring it onto the online. An online shift is possible in most of the services that we are talking about, if not fully, partially. So everything has to go on net. Let's have that mentality and work backward what is not possible to be there and integrate that. Analyze the regional preferences, very important. I think we don't even know what's happening in our own country. The music consumption, that is being done by masses, is being produced in some low-cost theater somewhere, being put in the lowest possible technology, USBs, and getting distributed big time. Informal, there's no way to measure that. Look at the value proposition. What are we delivering? Voice is a commodity. It's like potatoes. So we have sold potatoes for a long time. Let's get down to making cuisines. Aggregation and distribution is an opportunity. Let me explain what it means. India is an aggregation country. And what it means is that you combine many, many small things and get into a bigger thing and put your value proposition and business model in that. Small sachet is an example of aggregation. PCOs is an example of aggregation. The microfinance is example of aggregation, where business models are evolved to sustain the low value consumption. Why it can't happen in the telecommunication? We think that the cost of bandwidth is the prohibitive factor. There is nothing like that. I am in the technology, well, I can tell you the cost of the current technology is 1/10 of what has been invested before. Indian solution for Indian problem had not happened. Another paradigm that I'd like to briefly talk about is assign increasing role, larger role to the networks. Telematics, which is like action, remote action. It will require a little bit of a more maturity of technology, but it's on the way. That's what we have to do, really think what can be done, and solutions are possible today. Let me take you another example of why value-added services, where from they get originated. Let's look at the dancing and music and the thing that people like to consume in India. These all have originated from folk. How many hit music songs have come from folks? How many theater forms have emerged? Some of these are dying. And people are actually willing to consume them, but they have no time. So if the form has to change, Japan is trying to sustain their theatrical form, kabuki, and you have to pay $300 to get to one show. And that is nothing but what swan used to be there in India many years back. That is all dying down. So the whole paradigm shift will happen slowly. The painting and everything is lay my hand on a report, which talks about very amazing things. It says there are 70, what happens? And this is what is in India is going on, and we have made it so hard for them. 29% of the villagers have to go to a site than 10 kilometers. And in home is very, very small percentage. So you see a demand that is unfulfilled. So people are doing jugaad, somehow they are managing. I will take you back to 1984-85, when there were 20 million telephone subscribers here. And people thought that you can't have even 100 million subscribers in this country. We have 1 billion and we're talking about 1.2 billion. Internet is exactly, and the broadband is exactly at the same place. In spite of everything, but we did not believe it in that whole basic things that you and me will do only partially. Commercial user, travel booking, all of that is going on in terms of the utilization. And we have only 14.68 million users as of now going on. Wherever people find, they're trying to use it. That's what it shows. Let me talk about, what is the future of entertainment that is being envisioned in the world, and how it will be actually impacting all of us. Google Fiber. Google decided to give to 500,000 households a free broadband internet by laying fiber on top of it. And they asked the communities and cities to bid for it. And some of the cities, they are already rolling out. And how does it work? The Google Fiber generates an extraordinary entertainment experience of future. And what they have $120 per month, internet plus television. And internet you can also get free if the connectivity is already done for you. There are 3 boxes that you have to take, one for TV, second one is for network connection, and third one is for storage. So this is, if we want to map this to India, won't work. So what I try to do is that I'm trying to talk about music distribution. This is real life. This is called Sangeet Damag, which has been designed by CDOT. And I'm not saying this is the best thing that we can do, but an example of services, you have Wi-Fi pop in your house or the panchayat. You have the 2 telephones, you have cable TV connection, you have IPTV connection, you have 4 into 100 Mbps connectivity, you have 1 GB connectivity right there, you have a music player built in, you have the internet radio, you have an FM transmitter for your house. For whatever music you want to play, you have USBs to share printer and your local music play. It can connect to your music system. All of this in 1 month subscription or 2 month subscription of the Google Fiber in the United States. The heavily converged device, and the cost of that is going to be 10 to 20,000 rupees. Now, how many players of value-added services will actually utilize it? You can imagine. This is the way to go about bringing down the cost and giving the services. Second thing, so there is a, you can record music remotely on the centralized server, and I'm not talking about future, I'm talking about the things that are working today. Built by Indian engineers for India. Understanding people cannot pay more than 20,000 rupees, whatever come, even 1 year subscription. So this is what has to be done. Another paradigm, I'm not going to talk about too much as to what we are doing, but I want to talk to you, there are 50% of the population which is illiterate. You think we cannot design technologies for them so that they start having consumption? Here is an example. You have gesture technology, you have the technology through camera, and people are able to access all. That's what I'm talking about. So what I will do is I will close, because I was given 15 minutes. I already exhausted 13 minutes as of now. And want to thank you for your attention. And my friend from SIS and PTC, and they have already experienced what I'm talking about. So they are our manufacturers, one of the manufacturers.